3 wins in 3 races has seen Andrew Hardman open up a sizable lead in the Formula 3 series. Meanwhile, in the Porsche Cup series, a bad showing last time out for Felipe Loyola has allowed for Rodrigo Mies to close the gap. There's a lot of questions still left to be answered in this story, but we won't have long to wait as we get ready to watch round 5 of the PRL Thursday night series, brought to you here live on the Global Sim Racing channel. Hi, I'm DJ Clark, and with me in the booth is Michael Johnson. Behind the scenes is our director, Chad Irvine, and he's using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. Donington isn't exactly a circuit that gets a lot of love, but Mike, what can you tell us about it?
Well, Donington is one of those tracks that's gone through many iterations over the years. It is incredibly challenging, primarily because, especially in these cars, so many apexes are practically invisible, and you add the extra car in front of you, you're just not going to see it, especially as you're coming up the hill towards the backside of the track and going off into that extended area. This track has been around for a very long time. It is incredibly popular for track day events, but we do get to see a fair amount of British touring car and higher end amateur events like Formula events all through the year. It's a wonderful place to be.
It is indeed, and we are very excited to get to the results in the racing. But before we do, we'd like to mention some of our sponsors. First off, our broadcast tonight is brought to you by ASR. Owned and operated by passionate sim racers, Advanced Sim Racing designs and builds some of the sturdiest and most durable aluminum profile racing simulation on the cockpits available on the market today. Visit them at advancedsimracing.com.
It's also sponsored by RaceLab. RaceLab helps you to improve your driving skills. With modern overlays, race statistics, and native VR integration, you can get the best out of iRacing. Start using it now for free at racelab.app.
Today's broadcast is also proudly sponsored by ButtKicker. ButtKicker products add an incredible immersion and realism to any game. Feel every nuance and truly put yourself in the driver's seat. Check them out at thebuttkicker.com.
And finally, the PRL Open Wheel Series is brought to you by NinjaTrader. Ready to compete against the financial markets? Supporting over 60,000 users across the globe, NinjaTrader provides award-winning trading software and brokerage services. NinjaTrader is always free to use for advanced charting, backtesting, and trade simulation. Visit ninjatrader.com to get started with a risk-free trading simulator and start tracking your performance.
Well, as I mentioned at the top of the show, Andrew Hardman right now leads the way in this PRL Formula 3 Amateur Series with a pretty big margin up on top. He is directly ahead of Michael Broomhead in that championship, and well, with 3 races on the trot, it's not a whole lot to imagine that he can continue to keep on his winning ways. But Michael, what can you quickly tell us about the team's championship?
Well, in the teams, it's no surprise to see Britannia iSports up top. Not far behind, it's looking like we've got Atomic Racing Proton and Evolve Sim Sports Academy and third with SDS Racing Team and VHR also close behind. This is going to be an incredibly tight team event here. You're going to see these teams really struggling to take every last point they can get.
I think you're very right. And the race details for today, well, they're like as they always are here in the 5th round of the PRL F3 series. It's going to be a 29-lap affair and open setups here today. The fuel tanks are limited, though, so drivers will have to come down pit lane. You will get disqualified at 12 drive-through penalty at 12 incidents, which with some of the off-tracks around here could be pretty easy to pick up, and a full disqualification at 17. There are points available, however, for pole fastest lap or 3 incidents or less. And currently right now, Robert Ridgway leading the way, as you can see there on your timing towers. Max Chablis currently the one who is in second, and your points leader Andrew Hardman all the way back in third. A little bit surprising for him, Michael.
I was kind of expecting Andrew to be up top, but maybe this track doesn't speak to him. Earlier on, Max Chablis went out and just ripped off an absolute burner, and then Robert Ridgway did what he could. It took him, 10 minutes, maybe 15 minutes, but he finally was able to nip it. But look at that gap, 0.026. That is a tiny gap. That's a quarter of a tenth. So Andrew Hardman, not that far back. So I think we're going to see some really tight racing at the pointy end of this field.
I have to agree with you, and this is a man who's hoping to improve a little bit. This is Steven Ritters right now as he makes his way down through the Melbourne hairpin, and he works his way back up through the field, trying to improve right now on a 120.82. Not seeing any green sectors out of him. He's going to cross over the timing and scoring line, and that looks like he's not going to improve.
Yeah, it's pretty tough out here, especially later in the session. You start making different mistakes. So I always like to say there's glory in a great mistake, like one where you don't hit the wall per se, but having a really good mistake turns out to be something positive that you didn't realize, like, oh, I'm going to hit the first apex. Whoops, I hit the second. And hey, it worked out better. Or the opposite, which is true here at this track, which a lot of people they don't realize when they're going through the upper half of the track. On the back side, there's a part called coppice. Now at coppice, you want to hit that first apex, but you kind of want to miss the second one. You don't need it unless you're trying to defend someone. But if you find out that you were trying to hit that second one all along and you make the mistake of hitting the first one, now hey, look, I got a quarter second. That's a great mistake. So making great mistakes is fun, but during qualifying, you start making different mistakes and they're not as great. So they kind of take you off the path. So you got to get back into the mood, get into the line. Looks like we're getting ready to start here, though.
We are indeed. Robert Ridgway will be starting off on pole position, followed by Max Chablis with Andrew Hardman and Tyler Scarali in fourth. Takeshi Kita will line up fifth, followed by Steven Ritters with Michael Broomhead, Brad Miller, Fernando Rodriguez, and James Carter rounding out your top 10.
I've got Devin Lamke in 11th with Matthew Gunderson, Nick Horvath, Richard Swindells, Calvin Lee, Rob Campbell in 16th, Jonathan Almanar, Phil Amaro, Greg Doucette, and James Holland brings out top 20.
In 21st, it's going to be Adam McDonald, followed by Nicholas Kariandis with James Doherty, Donald Olson, Tyler Gore, Nicholas Coliander, Johnny Luna, and Dave Peterson rounding out your field. Just waiting here for the final couple of drivers to get on to the grid right now. Our leader, Robert Ridgway, is there now, just waiting for Fernando Rodriguez and James Holland, I believe. See them there. Crucial to get a good start here. That is Max Chablis starting in second position as we wait for the lights to come on, and we'll see what happens. A little bit of an awkward starting position there in the back for Dave Peterson. Waiting again for these last drivers to grid up as all eyes turn to Barney the Flagman and those 5 lights. There they are, and the engines start to harmonize a little bit as we get ready to go racing here at Donington. There goes the flag. We're racing at Donington. It is a good start on the way right now for Robert Ridgway, but that's Max Chablis trying to challenge behind. Andrew Hardman looking up the inside, going into that first corner, but he is going to be held off. Everybody trying to snake their way through the first couple of corners, nice and easy, and it looks like everyone is through relatively clearly, but we've got a big kerfluffle on the back. I see Carter, McDonald, Miller, Doucette, Doherty, Olson, many cars involved.
Ooh, that does not look good. That's going to end the day for a couple of drivers, or at least one who's on his lid. Not much you can do to come back from that as we watch the rest of the field go through the old hairpin.
Indeed you do, but back up front, this is Andrew Hardman running in third. Oh, that was Michael Broomhead. That's one of the championship potentials off in the background. He has had a hard lick into the wall.
Oh, that's one of those tough spots, too. That's when you're coming up through McLean's. And that corner, that's one of those blind ones as you're coming out of it. You just can't see where the road runs off. And with cold tires and heavy on fuel, it makes it a really tough day.
Here is the replay. Looks like he just brought that car in, trying to go side by side up there with Max Chablis almost. And he's kind of come back in here, tries to make the move on Almanar. Oh, just carried too much speed into the corner, Michael.
Yeah, it looks like he may have had a little bit too much weight on the nose, maybe a tiny bit heavier on the brake because A, offline, B, in the marbles, C, you don't want to hit the guy that you're trying to pass. So, yeah, I think that kind of made it difficult for him right there.
Ooh, and I want to jump you back up to the battle for P2 because Andrew Hardman here, very, very strong over Max Chablis. It looks like Chablis had a little bit of a bad run coming through Red Gate. That first corner, he caught a little bit of the grass, and now Hardman is in full attack mode.
Yeah, Hardman is really trying to get up there. He's right about a second off of him right now. It's going to be a tough one to run here. But hey, look, this is a long race. We're only 2 laps into this 29 laps, and we got a pit stop to come.
We do indeed, and there aren't a lot of places to save fuel around this Donington circuit, but they may just try to do it nonetheless and maybe try to jump somebody in the pits. Looks like Ridgway was able to hold off on that battle. Is Hardman now just trying to push on him, coming down into one of the prime overtaking opportunities. This is going down into the hairpin. Big defensive move there from Max Chablis, trying to cut off any attack from Andrew Hardman, but he overruns the corner. They're going to be side by side coming out of it, and that is move done and dusted for Andrew Hardman, but it looks like Chablis trying to fight back, not going to be able to.
That's one of the hard places. That's one of those blind corners I was talking about. As you come around there, you just can't see it. There's a little spot of where some dirt was left up or some tire on the white line. That's how you know where to brake and where to turn in. Otherwise, you have no idea, especially in these cars, where to turn in there.
Exactly, and as you saw there on your screen, Robert Ridgway setting the fastest lap of the race. He is loving the fact that Hardman and Chablis were duking it out as they were. That's allowed him to scamper off into the distance to the tune of about 1.4 seconds. Ooh, big hornet's nest here in the back. Calvin Lee right in the middle of it. Oh, he's going to fall back a little bit, trying to hold off on Johnny Luna. I think that was Jonathan Almanar off into the grass.
Yep, taking a little bit of evasive action there. Doesn't want to get too tied up in that. You want to stay close, but if you get too close, that's going to end your day. You do not want to end up on your lid here.
And look at that, Luna almost taking that side-by-side through the entire corner, jumping back there to James Holland, who now has Almanar all over the back of him. And they've got to be careful because that is Nick Horvath, and we have seen the speed out of that 382 before.
Yeah, James Holland just giving up the corner right there. Probably the smart move at this point. You don't want to defend too heavily, but I'm wondering if he may have gotten a cut-through penalty or something because he had to slow down a little more than I would have expected. And if you notice, we got up the inside here in that green car. Is he going to make it back around? As Holland tries to fight back. He wants to get back, get up to Almanar, but he's just not able to do it with Nick Horvath trying to take up that inside. But look at him go outside. Oh, and we had 2 cars spin off in front of him.
And that was Swindells and Luna, both of which have lost it. That's going to gather everybody back up here. You can see him streaking down the main straightaway, cars in the back. Here they go. They're able to get themselves back around, thank goodness, and keep on going. Here is the recap on that battle. Almanar leading, Horvath, Holland, and Lampke both close behind.
Yeah, I feel bad for Swindells there. He gave me a pretty good shellacking earlier in the week in a TCR race. I thought I had a good car and a decent setup, but he proved me very wrong on that. Seeing him spin around like that is a real heartbreaker because he's such a good driver.
Indeed, Almanar starting to look a little bit to pull away here, but just slightly as they work their way through those tricky final corners that you talked about, the blind apexes through there, Michael. Very, very difficult to try to get right. Almanar now able to build up a gap of about 1.3 seconds. He's going to be doing well, but they're very close behind Holland, Lampke, and Doucette. Everybody running really close.
Yeah, I think we got Peterson in there as well. This is a tight little pack. I think they need to stop fighting at this point and try to catch up because sitting back there and outside of the top 10, you got to work together. You want to get everybody up there, but this makes for great racing, so I'm not going to discourage it too much as Robert Ridgway is pulling yet another fastest lap at a 1:21.055.
Yes, he is. And whoa, we've got a real fierce battle. That's Horvath down pit lane. Some major damage to that front wing. So he is going to take a little bit of a repair, but he missed his stall. That is terrible for the 382.
Oh, that's definitely going to hurt him. But you got to remember, Horvath is one of those drivers who just has a knack for getting back out there and putting down some just burning laps. As we watch Phil Amaro here trying to get out of the way of this lead pack coming through.
Yeah, Amaro there just came out of pit lane. He is 2 laps down as of right now. And those drivers that are able to breeze on by him, I believe was Rodriguez. Here is Ritters and Gunderson as this battle starts to develop a little bit. Excuse me, these are actually the teammates on your screen. This is Ritters and Takeshi Kita. Ritters following behind the driver of the 64, Mr. Sneaky, as we dubbed him last week.
Mr. Sneaky, that's right, Mr. Sneaky. And he snuck his way up last week pretty well, too, if I remember correctly. So, yeah, watch for Takeshi to do some interesting stuff at this track. I think this track is going to fall to his strengths. I look forward to watching him work his way up through here. He's already up to P6, and he started, I think he's down one, actually. I think he started P5 today.
Indeed, as he is down one, but able to try to keep going around. Ritter's doing a good job to be able to get them to go. Just trying to hold that gap is Steven Ritters, and they're catching up to the back there of Fernando Rodriguez. Rodriguez had a little bit of a problem coming through Red Gate, just dipping his left side tires off into the grass.
Yeah, at no point on this track do you want to get it, even right here where he's coming around that corner, you do not want to hit that little bit of dirt out there. It'll just mess you up. Where he went through right there at Coppice, that's probably the only spot where you can even think about it. Anywhere else, it turns into ice grass, and it's really going to mess up your race.
It certainly is, as they work their way through this fast chicane, leads down on to the Melbourne's hairpin down here. Coming around, waiting to see everyone concertinaing back up a little bit. This four-car train right here, this is Chablis, Rodriguez, Kita, and Ritters. They've all really come down, and Max Chablis down 2 positions. He is not having the best day out there on track.
Yeah, Max started off so well and was really turning some burners early on. Speaking of a burner, Robert Ridgway pulls another one at a 120.877. But this pack right here, this is probably our fastest little group of anybody to watch. So, as we get somebody going wide, who was that?
That's Rodriguez around. That was the leader in that group. Remember, he was just in the thick of it. He's able to catch it and only lose 2 positions to Ritters and Kita, but that is absolutely terrible for Fernando.
Oh, that like I was just saying, you cannot touch the grass at all here. It will just turn into ice grass and make your race not the race you had planned. But as we watch him here trying to come back up, he wants to get close up to these guys. He's going to hope they get into a little bit of a battle. If they get into any type of battle, he can recover and get back his position.
Indeed, that's really what he's going to be hoping for as we jump back here to James Holland. Now, this is a battle right now that he is trying to close in on the back of Michael Broomhead. Remember, Broomhead had that spin early on. He is trying to fight his way back up through the field. The car directly ahead of them that you just see going through your shot. I'm looking at my live timing and scoring. That's Dave Peterson. He's up 17 spots on the day. A fantastic drive for the 35.
That is now, Dave, we may have the same spirit animal here. I am always a terrible qualifier, but I love the race. In the race, I work my way. I can't say I make 17 places up, but this is really good. I mean, if we want to watch the fast mover in this race, Dave might be just the person we want to keep an eye on.
Well, and he has got Jonathan Almanar directly ahead of him. Almanar, who's not doing too shabby himself, he's up 7 on the day. But Broomhead, we know, is out of position here. He's got a lot of speed in that car, so I wouldn't be surprised if we see him really start to put the screws here to Dave Peterson in the next couple of laps, as now they work their way through the corners here. Great camera angle by our Dougie Beard, as you can see the speed these cars are carrying going through Craner Curve.
Yeah, there's a lot of speed to be carried there, too. I think one thing people misunderstand about this track is just how fast it is. Now, my first time ever driving this track was in a 7.5-ton truck. And if we come to a little lull in the action, I'll tell the story of that. But as we watch these guys come through here, there is so much speed to be had in these cars. There's a little bit of downforce. Well, there's a lot of downforce. And they can absolutely put the pedal to the metal as they go through that super high-speed chicane right there.
Yeah, that super high-speed chicane leading down back into the Melbourne hairpin as they try to go Peterson. Oh, that's a wide one for Almanar. Is that going to open up the door for Dave Peterson? I think it is. He's going to have to be very, very brave coming into Goddard's here. Another one of these blind hairpins that we've been talking about all day long. Peterson trying to chuck it in on the outside. He's going to get the run, and here comes Michael Broomhead trying to see if there's anything that he can do. We've got a nice little triangle. Broomhead picking up the draft. Almanar maybe left out the wide. Almost contact, almost 3 wide.
Broomhead doing a nice job trying to stay out of the contact, trying to slide his way through there, figuring out which one of these guys is going to go through here a little bit quicker. Broomhead just making the right choice. Almanar making, a tough choice, but hey, it worked out for him because he's still part of this pack. Do not write him off yet. He has got the speed, and he can stick right here with Broomhead all day long.
Well, Michael, we haven't talked really a lot yet about the high-speed nature of this circuit in regards to the aero wash and the aero push. Just how much is that going to be affecting these drivers around these quick corners?
Well, the interesting thing about this track is that it's so fast, and it doesn't look like it. When you just look at it on paper and you see how it's drawn out, you don't feel like it's going to be that fast. But with these cars relying so heavily, especially through this super high-speed chicane right here, you get a little bit of wash, and that's going to buff it around the front of the cars. We watch going up the inside is Michael Broomhead making a beautiful run, and he spins it. Oh, it was so close. Had the right idea, couldn't quite pull it off. Got a little bit too much of that curbing on the inside. I think maybe the grass reached out and grabbed him a little bit. And yeah, trying to get back on track, making a good recovery on track. Didn't get in anybody's way, although it was close.
Very, very close there. I get the sense that Broomhead is driving a little bit hot and bothered today. He's a little bit more aggressive than we've seen him in the past, as now he's trying to make a move there on Johnny Luna, and they come together.
Oh, that's not good. Oh, man, that's tough. I think there might be a little problem with Johnny moving around there. Maybe we can get a replay unless something else is going on. As we watch coming down here, watch as they're coming down. He's moving over. Oh, that could have been a little bit of miscommunication there, and that's gonna be the end of the day for Johnny Luna. And it looks like, that's gonna be. Let's take another angle here. It's almost like he lifted. It seemed like, yeah.
He brake checked him. That rear brake light came on. That was a brake check from Johnny Luna.
Ooh, brake checking not good, and I just heard over chat there was a little bit of not acceptable type. You can't do that discussion going on. So, yeah, not a good thing for him to have done there.
Was not, but who is doing good things is our leader, Robert Ridgway, who is pulling out a very sizable 5-second advantage. And as the action lies down here a little bit, I want to thank one of our other... Whoa, never mind. Here we go. We've got a side-by-side battle going on right in front of our eyes. Oh, off the track goes the 22 of James Holland. Rob Campbell able to suit on by him, and it looks like now the 93 going to try to see if there's anything to be had. Campbell trying to get that line. Is that going to be enough defense there? He's got it.
And Goddard's claims almost another one. That's really tough. When you're going through Goddard's, that's one of those places, especially in these low slung formula cars, you just cannot see the apex. And with as low as these cars are, you kind of have to guess. And well, it looks like he guessed wrong on that one.
Guess wrong, but that battle is still very much on, as there you see it finally start to spread out a little bit. Some nice battling going on here. Carter, Doucette, Holland, very, very close to one another.
Yeah, that's another one of those really good groups where you've got very interestingly close talent. Everybody's right around the same speed, same ability, and that makes for some great racing as we watch them shoot down here through that chicane again, going towards that hairpin.
And there you see, just trying to arc that as wide as humanly possible. That's Rob Campbell leading the way right there. Greg Doucette, or James Carter rather, trying to close in. Doucette in that plaid machine, looking like he's a little bit closer. He's got that gap under 0.4 of a second right now as they go through Goddard's, trying to get the power down. I don't think he's going to be ready. But now I do want to take a quick moment to thank one of our other sponsors tonight, the Majors Garage. Make sure to check out the Majors Garage, home of free Baseline Plus setups. Get help from any of the Majors coaches 24/7. Sign up now for awesome, affordable monthly subscriptions, telemetry, coaching, and more at majorsgarage.com. Or use our special discount code, Majors GSRC, for 10% off. We also just have a link in the description below that applies directly to our special offer. So go ahead and check those out. Good stuff as we continue to watch Doucette here, just trying to close in on the back of James Carter.
Yeah, Doucette seems to be at least right there at that section. A little bit better into braking. Oh, in the background, we've got some... Oh, that looks like Greg Doucette got caught up, unfortunately, with James Carter as James went around.
Yeah, both drivers there off the track. It's going to force them down the order. Wing damage there to the front of that 85 of Greg Doucette. He'll probably
Side pod too. Yeah, he's
Oh,
got some side. Oh, and steering, side pod. Oh, everything left front. He's not going to have an easy time recovering from this one.
No, I have to think that is going to end his day. Let's check out the replay here to see exactly what happened. Now, that's Carter in front and Doucette behind. Coming through the corner there. Oh, that was Campbell. Campbell lost it. That forced Carter to back up, and then Doucette getting caught up in the mayhem.
So Carter trying to do the right thing as he sees the car in front of him spinning, and then just overdoes it a little bit himself. Yeah, that happens. You want to do the right thing. You want to stay away from that spinning car, but sometimes it causes you to go into your own spin.
Exactly, as now we watch this battle starting to develop its way around. This is Jonathan Almanar and Devin Lampke. Lampke, who, tail of the tape doesn't exactly say the measures because it looks like he's been in the battles, but this is the battle for P11 right now.
Yeah, we'll take a look at Devin Lampke here as we watch him run through. He's got a really nice line through the chicane as he heads down towards the Melbourne hairpin, lining up way on the outside, trying to get the nose in, maybe a little bit too late on braking. That could be a little bit of wing wash. That could be a little bit of overzealous trying to overdrive. Hard to say, but as we watch him coming down into Goddard's here, this is that blind corner, trying to sling the car around there, hope it sticks, get out a little bit onto the curbing, and head your way down towards the first corner, red gate.
This sweeping corner that dives down in. It looks like Lampke's losing a little bit of time to Almanar. Remember, Almanar out of position here just slightly. He is up 6 on the day, but we saw him running a little bit higher and got caught out in a spin earlier in the day.
Yeah, Almanar up 6, trying to make his way towards Dave Peterson, who's about 2.5 seconds in front of him. Peterson, he was 17 places before. He's 18 now.
And this is up to Takeshi Kita right now. He is, this is the closest battle we have on screen. Is Steven Ritters is holding off his teammate here to the tune of about 9/10 of a second.
Yeah, these guys may, since their teammates work together a bit, I'm sure there's a little bit of, hey, I really want to get farther ahead in this race. We're used to seeing Mr. Sneaky here work his way through. P5 at this point in the race, though, this is where he would normally be as he works his way up to P3, P2, P1. So don't write him off just yet. Takeshi Kita, sitting here with his teammate, is in exactly the place he wants to be. As we watch him go millimeter perfect right there as he went through red gate, that was a perfect use of the curbing. Just absolutely flying as we come down to the old hairpin.
Down through that old hairpin, you can see Takeshi just trying to keep that car going the best way he can. We've got it looks like Ritters is starting to close in a little bit on Scarali in front of them. So some battles maybe getting a little bit closer, but this continuing to be our closest battle on the track. And let's take out of consideration that this is a teammate here, Michael. How do you start to try to close this gap down a little bit? What techniques can you really start to do to just take those tenths away slowly but surely?
Well, yeah, it's very difficult to take it away from a teammate situation. But if this weren't a teammate, what I would do is try to get in and fill those mirrors. I would be taking advantage of every straightaway I can. I would sit exactly, perfectly to the millimeter inside that draft, getting every bit of speed I can out of every corner. And I would likely back it up a little bit on my braking to get a super exit. But look right now, see, I think Steven is a good racer too. He knows what he's doing here. He's opened this up to almost a second. He's at about 9/10 right now, trying to just pull it away. But I don't know that he's pulling away from Takita as much as he's trying to get closer to Scarali. Takita's going to sit back there and hope he drives his tires away, tries to just sit back and relax a little bit. Remember, we're just over the halfway point in this race. You've got to have tires all the way through to the end.
When we haven't really talked about the weather all that much today, 80 degrees Fahrenheit on track right now, a wind of 9 miles an hour, some pretty high humidity there of 70%. I've got to think with that lower amount of temperature on the track, Michael, that these drivers probably won't be taking tires.
Well, yeah, my guess is probably not. The time to take tires is not necessarily going to be worth it. When you're looking at 27 degrees Celsius, 80 degrees Fahrenheit for your track temperature, which is what the tires are really concerned about, it's going to be tough. But let's pair that with a 65-degree air temperature. 65 degrees Fahrenheit is just perfect for an internal combustion engine. That is the temperature it likes. It gets enough cool air in there. It's not too uncomfortable. They're kind of designed for that, especially in these types of environments. So when you get that dense, cooler air in there, you make more power. When you make more power, you put it through the tires. And now you're going to be eating up tire with maybe 3 or 4 more horsepower over, let's say, a 90-degree day.
All right, so a little bit of a give and take there. And I asked those questions because we're at about the halfway point here, just over it, with 17 laps that we are working on right now. This, again, is your closest battle. Robert Ridgway has been the absolute gem of the field, as I think Devin Lamke has had a problem. Yeah, that car looks like it's limping a little bit. Not sure what happened to him.
Yeah, maybe we can get a replay and take a look of what happened to him as we watch Ridgway right here, the 77 car working his way around that hairpin, going down to Goddard's for another lap.
Yeah, he's going to dive it down. He has just been picture smooth here, and he's going to come down pit lane. So your leader, the first one to really fire off the pit stop cycle here today. Looking behind, I don't believe, no, Ridgway, or Hardiman rather, is going to stay out. Scarali looks like he's staying out. Ritters and Kita, Rodriguez. This is just an early stop here for your leader, Robert Ridgway.
Yeah, Ridgway may be looking at the traffic ahead of him and seeing what he has to contend with, thinking, I may be able to get a pass here in the pits. So let me go ahead and pit now instead of waiting. As we watch this battle here, it is really heating up. Look at that. He is absolutely flying as he goes through the old hairpin.
Well, and a little bit of lap traffic breaking that up for a minute. That was Nicholas Colander that they were able to get around, as now that battle starts to play up a little bit more, and that has set up a battle behind them as well, as between teammates with Colander and Swindell's a lap behind. Lap traffic really starting to come into play here. Maybe that's what factored in to Ridgway's decision to pit.
I think it was probably something along those lines, a smart move. You don't want to get caught up in that lap traffic. It can really mess you up, especially if they're significantly off pace, or what they sometimes do is try to, let's say, help, and it really doesn't help. Getting out of the way doesn't help. You need to be predictable. As we watch here, there's a little bit of lap traffic in that little battle that we're seeing right now. Watch these guys coming through here. They're coming up to that red car, which I'm trying to get an identity on. If I could just see a number, almost.
Well, right now, it looks like we've had Ritters and Kita popping down pit lane, but this is a little bit of a battle. This is Nicholas Colander leading Richard Swindell's right now. This is a lap down, but a very, very fierce battle between the two. Swindell's maybe trying to do a little bit of a move there around the outside. It's going to break down into the old hairpin. Let's see who's able to get the momentum. Swindell's has to back off a little bit.
Yeah, I think Swindell's was hoping he could pull the same move there that he pulled on me earlier this week. Didn't work this time. Sorry, Richard. Nice try, though.
All right, now as they go around, I can report that the majority of the field has come down pit lane. We're still waiting on Hardman, Scarali, Rodriguez, and Chablis, as well as Almanar and Holland. Your leader, though, as we anticipate coming back out of pit lane, will be Robert Ridgway. He's only about 13 seconds behind Andrew Hardman, and so that is easily a gap that he's going to be able to hold on to.
Yeah, looking at Hardman, he's coming around the Melbourne chicane right now. I think it's probably pretty close to time for him to be considering making that dive into the pits, especially given the traffic. And yep, looks like he's putting his nose in, gonna make a dive into the pits, as that should give us a new leader of Tyler Scarali.
Yeah, Scarali is going to keep it on out. It looks like Rodriguez will dive down pit lane, as will Max Chablis. Waiting to see here where Hardman will come out in relation to Robert Ridgway. Ridgway already past pit exit here at this point, coming through Red Gate. That is still going to be a massive, massive lead there. He gained time in that sequence. Ridgway really doing a good job, even though Ridgway was about a second longer. He was just able to maximize on the outlap a little bit more.
Yeah, his stop time in the box was about 0.6 longer. And overall time, though, I think he made up pretty well because he was only 0.4 on the overall pit lane length, including the stop. So I think he may have had a little bit better entry to the pits. You can kind of crash that entry cone and get the braking point perfectly, and that'll help you make up some time.
Indeed it will. We watch the 0-2 here cycling his way around. This is Jonathan Almanar. As I want to draw your attention back here to the battle for 11th place right now. This is Calvin Lee holding off Devin Lampke. They've got to be, they don't have to be careful. That's some lap traffic behind them.
Yeah, these guys are going through that I love, this is the hardest corner on any track because it doesn't look like a hairpin. It doesn't even look like an old hairpin. It's one of the fastest corners on this track, but we call it the old hairpin.
Indeed. Ooh, a little bit of a wide run there for Calvin Lee. He may be regretting that a little bit. Tyler Scarali, by the way, has come down pit lane. Hardman will be able to get on by him. Waiting to see on Ritters. It looks like Scarali is going to rejoin. Oh, we've got to go to this.
Oh,
this
it's
is
going to be a tight re-entry. Good job by Scarali, and actually excellent job by Ritters to keep his eye out for it as he gets up the inside as we're heading down the hill, going through Hollywood, trying to head our way down to the old hairpin.
And they are very close together. A little bit of an elbows out move there from Steven Ritters. We'll see Tyler Scarali demoted down into 4th place. He is a loser out of that pit stop cycle, and now here comes Mr. Sneaky, Takeshi Kita.
Oh, Mr. Sneaky working his magic. He's not that far off of here. Down to 0.3 off the back of this battle. If he can get these guys to get back into battle, I think Mr. Sneaky is going to do some more sneaky and make his way by here.
Very well might. He's going to be very close in the draft as they make the way down to the Fogarty S's. Seeing if he's going to make for a move there. No, he is going to wait and try to do it around the Melbourne hairpin. They come out and around right now. Not able to get it, and it looks like there that Scarali was able to get a better run through Fogarty, and that's going to at least keep him up in 4th for the time being.
And Mr. Sneaky really good on the brakes, absolutely nails the apex there, and what's again coming through Goddard's just absolutely millimeter perfect. He is running right up on the back of Tyler Scarali.
Yes, he is trying to just put some pressure there to him to the best of his abilities, trying to see if there's anything to be had, hassling a little bit this way and that as they work their way through Hollywood.
Yep, coming down here, there seems to be maybe a downforce difference the way they've set the cars up. I think Takita may have a little bit more wing on his car. He's trying to really maximize his braking and his high-speed corners, where we watch Tyler Scarali just start to pull away. Oh, gets a little bit too much of the outside of that. Takita's able to hold on to him as they run through Coppice, trying to make the absolute most of it, sticking right under that wing. Look at Mr. Sneaky go.
He's trying to make it work there out of Coppice. Again, though, we saw him not get the best run through the Fogarty S's. Is he able to get a better one this time? Ooh, Scarali making a little bit of mistake. I believe these guys are about to come up on some lap traffic, though, right now. That is James Carter that is getting out of the way for them. Is that going to help Kita at all? No, it doesn't look like it as they continue to go through the lines.
Yeah, Takeshi keeps catching up through that new extension. I call it new. It's been there for quite a while. It is not part of the original version of the track, but that new extension as they go down to Melbourne, he keeps closing it up there, but then loses it coming off of Goddard, heading down towards Redgate. I think it may be something in setup. Tyler Scarali seems to have a little bit better ability to put the power down to get down these very short straightaways.
Really trying to work it here, though, is Kita. You can see him hustling that wheel around. Scarali doing a fantastic job of defense, though, as they now work their way through the old hairpin. That's Kita off wide.
Oh, but handling it well, did exactly the right thing, came off the throttle, just kept the wheel as straight as he could, ease the car back up on as he comes past the lap traffic here. Scarali, is that Scarali who went off up there? Is he going to get up? It looks like he's going to catch Scarali. Scarali's getting caught up with this lap traffic as Takeda tries to get around him, going through. Oh, nice pass. Mr. Sneaky pulls it off again.
Amazing stuff there from Takeshi Kita. Just some gutsy driving, forcing his nose down into the inside. Way to go, Takeshi!
Oh, that was absolutely textbook. He went off. Something happened with Tyler. We didn't see it. He probably went off the very next corner. But then just doing what he does, being absolutely millimeter perfect at every corner. But Scarali trying to come back. Look at this. Scarali's got the advantage down this straightaway. Watching them come down towards Red Gate. I think they're going to get really close as they make their way towards Hollywood.
Yeah, here comes Scarali, keeping up that pressure as much as possible, trying to see if there's anything to be had over Takeshi Kita. 1-2, they fly through the Craner curves and down into the old hairpin. There they go, about to make their way underneath Starkey's Bridge right now. The gap holding at about 0.3 of a second. Scarali trying to take a little bit of a wider line there through Schwartz's curve. Now down into McLean's. It's still at about 0.3.
Coming up into Coppice here, watch Takeshi. He's trying to hold a little bit defensive, but does a better job this time. It may be that since that's where the off was last time for Tyler Scarali, he may have been backing off just a little bit to try to not overcook it. Wanted to ease his way back into the corner, but watch him coming out of here, trying to make his presence known. Going to take a look up the inside, coming around to Melbourne, gets his nose in there. Oh, and brings it around as Glenn brings him. Oh, he takes out Mr. Sneaky as well.
And that is Fernando Rodriguez, who says, thank you very much. I will have those two positions. He is able to take advantage of others' misfortune and move ahead of Takeshi Kita and Tyler Scarali, who respectively fall back to 6th and 7th.
Ooh, that's tough for Takeshi. Such a hard job getting up there. Tyler Scarali as well, both working very hard to get up into that P4, P5 range. But like you said, Fernando Rodriguez, thank you very much, guys. Happy to have you battle it out so I can come right on by.
Indeed, as this is a battle starting to shape up on track a little bit. This is a lap down, but Nicholas Colander and Richard Swindells down within 0.3 of a second. Swindells has done a fantastic job of keeping up behind. I've been keeping an eye on this battle out of the corner of my eye for the last couple of laps. They have been glued together like this really since the pit stops.
Yeah, Swindells wants to get up with his teammate Rob Campbell, who's up in 15th right now. I'm sure he wants to be driving right there with somebody he knows and trusts, but hey, he's having a good battle with Colander, because he and Colander are actually having a little bit of communication going back and forth. We're down to 0.3 of a second right here. This is getting to be a super tight, and it's under a 10th. He gets past him, under braking, able to get right around there, going, and then he brings it around and gets contact.
Oh no, the two drivers making contact into one another. Colander and Swindells looking like their day is pretty much done. It looked to me there, Michael, like Richard Swindells just got on the power a little bit early and spun the tires.
Yeah, I think he may have thought this was a front-wheel drive car for a little bit there. Tried to get that power down. Maybe just not being quite patient enough. You gotta be patient as we watch this battle. Oh, this is a good battle forming right here. This is a really good one forming up.
And this is Max Chablis here working his way past Fernando Rodriguez. That gap very, very tiny, though, as Rodriguez tries to fight back, going down through the corners. Ooh, later under braking there, it looked like was Fernando Rodriguez as he tries to push that car as hard as he can down underneath Starkey's Bridge. Looking for an overtaking opportunity. Could we see another gutsy pass going down into the Fogarty S's?
Well, if anybody's going to do it, well, we've got a good pack here with Chablis, Rodriguez, and Kita. Look at that. Mr. Sneaky, who's back in it. Mr. Sneaky working his way back up in here. Takeshi Kita trying to stay in that little fight there. I think he wants that place back from Rodriguez, hoping to catch up to Max Chablis as well.
Yes, he is. Kita just trying to gain back anything that he can. Rodriguez losing a little bit of time, though, it looks like, as they continue to work their way around down into Melbourne hairpin, as they now come around. Fernando Rodriguez trying to gain that gap back. It's now under 0.7 of a second. Good run there through Goddard's, but look at the acceleration for Max Chablis.
Oh, Max Chablis has done a beautiful job setting this car up. That's why he's in P4 now after his earlier troubles. Able to just put the power down perfectly and get that shot down like we were watching earlier with Scarali and Kita.
Yes, they are, as they try to get going around. Working to see Kita trying to gain in. These gaps starting to separate themselves out just a little bit more as Chablis starts to assert his dominance onto that 4th place position.
Yeah, Chablis really doing everything he can to just pull away, just take away the heart of these guys, saying, look, this is my spot. You guys go ahead and fight. I'm going to take P4. You guys can fight over P5.
And I think that's a pretty good way to go it, but they're coming on some lap traffic there in the form of Greg Doucette. Now that could present a little bit of an interesting proposition here for these drivers to see how that'll shake out for the two of them if Doucette is able to get out of the way. As Ridgway not one to rest on his laurels with 2 laps to go, sets the fastest lap of the race.
Yeah, pulling him out just over 13 seconds. 13 seconds in a course like this over Andrew Hardman. Andrew, an amazing driver. Not to put anything past it, but wow, 13-second gap. That is absolutely huge at a track like this. As we head back, take a look at Max Chablis. That gap is just under a second now to Fernando Rodriguez. Fernando does not want to take this lying down. He's trying to get back into there, and he's telling Takeshi Kita, hey, I'm going to hold on to this spot. I'm sticking here. I'm going to go chase Chablis. You can chase me. I'm not letting you come back around me.
No, this is another battle we have shaping up, though. This is Horvath and Campbell. Campbell leaning from Nick Horvath right now. Very, very close action yet again on track. This is a lap down, however.
Yeah, Horvath has been making his way back through traffic. Some of the other drivers have been able to say, well, okay, yeah, pass me here. I don't know if we're going to see that from Campbell. Campbell is a very experienced driver, except, well, he just got past. It almost seems like he just let him around. But as we coming back around to Goddard's, he's holding that inside line, going to hold up right tight onto the curbing, put the power down. Is he going to give it to Horvath? Nope, he's going to get right in Horvath's way. Try to make everything he can coming back down to the first corner red gate and say, nope, this is mine. But around the outside, oh, it's Buffalo Gals. I love it.
A great move for Nick Horvath to be able to stick that out, as that was very, very impressive there for him. I can also report that your leader, Robert Ridgway, has taken the white flag as he works his way through the final couple of corners here. We'll let you know there he is on your screen. You mentioned it earlier, just an absolutely dominant drive out here for Robert Ridgway today, Michael.
Yeah, absolutely dominant drive. Look at not another car in sight, not even a back marker. Ridgway just taking it away. But I'd like to report Tyler Scarali seems to have fallen back a position. To who? It was not Mr. Sneaky this time. It was Fernando Rodriguez kind of got back around him. Hopefully we can find what happened there. But wow, that is a really interesting battle happening back there.
Yes, it is, but the battle out on the front of the field was never in question for the entirety of today. Robert Ridgway takes the final corner here to come around and take victory at Donington Park by the tune of about 14 seconds and sets the fastest lap in the process. That is the very definition of domination. Andrew Hardman, a fair ways back here, just now crosses the line. Steven Ritters comes home third behind him.
Ritter's doing the best he can to hold on to a good finish with Chablis, and Rodriguez and Scarali still trying to figure out what's going on back there, but looks like Chablis is going to take P4.
Yes, he is waiting for the last couple of drivers to cross the line. Only 14 drivers on the lead lap right now. Looking like a lot of battles are pretty much dying out as the last couple of drivers work their way through these final corners right now. James Doherty coming around in 18th position. In 9th, it looks like Dave Peterson. He was your biggest mover on the day, up 19 spots as here is Fernando Rodriguez on a little bit of a cool down lap. Waiting for the last driver on the lead lap. That's Tyler Gore to come around. He is just now coming through, and he will take the checkered flag here at Donington Park, and that will bring us to your race results for today. As we said, Robert Ridgway able to take a commanding victory here from Andrew Hardman, followed by Steven Ritters and Max Chablis. Fernando Rodriguez rounds out your top five, followed by Tyler Scarali with Takeshi Kita and Matthew Gunderson behind them, Dave Peterson in 9th, and Jonathan Almanar in 10th.
P11 looking like Devin Lamke, followed by Calvin Lee, James Holland, Tyler Gore, Nick Horvath, an impressive run back up through the field, making it to P15. Rob Campbell brings it home in 16th. Adam McDonald, 17th. James Doherty, Richard Swindells, and Nicholas Carandis in 20th.
In 21st, it was Phil Amaro, followed by James Carter with Nicholas Collender and Greg Doucette behind him. Michael Broomhead, the first of your DNFs, and the rest of the drivers, they are all DNFs on the day. But I am pleased to announce that we have our second place finisher here with us, Andrew Hardman. Andrew, it looked like you were racing your tail off out there, but just no pace for Robert Ridgway.
Yeah, absolutely. I tried to sort of keep with him at the beginning, but I could tell that he was just, a step above today. So congrats to him. He drove an awesome race, and glad to pick up second, though. I was wary of Ritters behind me as well as Scarali in the beginning of the race, so good to come off a second.
Well, is this kind of for you where the championship starts to take a little bit of that, let's just hold on and make sure that I can hold on to the championship lead, or are you still trying to fight a little bit for race-by-race wins?
Race wins are great. I'll certainly take them where I can get them. Today was not one of those days. So just racing for points at this point is the way to get a championship.
Well, it certainly looks like you're on your way here at this point. Anybody you'd like to thank for your run?
Of course, my team, Team Britannia, Mike Broomhead and Tyler Scarali, we've worked really well together to get us set up this week. This is a track we're not super familiar with, so it took a lot of our efforts, but it was well done from them. Of course, you guys for putting on a great show. Then my parents back home for giving me the support that they do. So thank you.
Thank you. That was your second place finisher here today, Andrew Hardman. And now I believe you, Michael, have caught up with our third place finisher, Steven Ritters.
So, Steven, really nice run through the field today. Had a couple of interesting battles. Any one of those that kind of stuck out in your mind?
I think Takeshi was pretty fast behind me after he got a little bit of got a little squirrely with, I think it was Scarelli, and he was keeping me honest the whole time. So I think that was the biggest battle so far.
Yeah, we've given him the nickname here, Mr. Sneaky. He comes from Midway, and then suddenly he's up front, and it's like, where did he come from? So how did the race generally play out for you? How did you feel like you were going to finish compared to where you did finish?
I think Tyler was pretty fast, but I was gradually gaining on him. And when we came to the pit stops, I noticed that he kept on going even though there was traffic in front of him. So I dipped down the pits trying to get some clean track in front of me to make up those couple seconds I was behind him, and it worked. He came out of the pits and we were side by side. So my whole strategy, basically in the midpoint of the race there, was to try and get close enough for the pit and try and overtake him in the pits.
Yeah, we actually caught that return to the track from the pits right as it was happening. It was really exciting to watch. So anybody you have to thank for today?
Yeah, all the guys at Atomic Racing, they do a great job every single week. Congratulations to Robert on a really great win. He was in another world today. And I'd like to say hi to my family here in Edmonton and back home in Montreal.
Well, thank you so much, Stephen, for being with us. Let's head off and have a conversation with Mr. Bobby Bombs himself. DJ Clark has him in the booth.
I do indeed, Robert. Dominant, I think, doesn't even begin to describe this run today.
Yeah, that was a fun one. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, I can hear you just fine. I got to ask you, were you ever in doubt about this race? I mean, it looked like just from the drop of the green flag, you were in a world unto yourself.
I've been a ball of nerves about the race the whole time. It's a weird track. sometimes I'm fast, and then sometimes I'm off. And tonight I was on, so I think I like astral projected into the F3 universe there. I blacked out for what 28, 29 laps.
Well, it worked out well for you, my friend. Anybody you'd like to thank for the win?
And man, I'm gonna thank Hardman and Team Britannica. Man, they're very good motivators. Hardman's quick. It really makes you you know put a few practice laps in. I gotta thank I gotta thank Gonzalo Perez. He's a Logitech G Challenge winner, but we built the setup together, and racing with him is just another, racing against an alien, practicing with an alien. And then, everybody on the Atomic team, everybody's real supportive, and is running the Ridgeway racing setups that we got posted on Patreon. And then the biggest one is, I got to thank the wife and the kids. They're wonderful. And y'all too. Y'all do a wonderful broadcast. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you. That was Robert Ridgway, your winner here today. That is going to take us to a quick break, but do not go anywhere. We will be back with the PRL Porsche Cup action live from Sebring. Welcome back, and we are here live at Sebring International Raceway for the PRL Porsche Cup Series. I want to run you through a couple of things before we get you to the action on track, and the first of those is our points standings. Leading the way is Rodrigo Mies after a rough time out last time for Felipe Loyola. Only a 2-point advantage between the two. Third place, Horacio Calquin. Diego Morales behind them to the tune of 26 points behind your leader, Mies. And Felipe Ricalme back in fifth, about 49 points back. But what about the team's championship we also have, Michael?
Well, the team's championship is, well, no surprise who's out front. It's Punto CL Racing Black, followed a few points behind, 125. NinjaTrader Esports trying to keep that gap as little as they can. Punto CL Racing Red, and then the blue team in fourth with Simsa Esports bringing out P5.
And just to run you through the race details of today, it is going to be a 20-lap affair there. This will be the 5th round on the docket. And as always, you get a drive-through penalty at 12 incidents and a disqualification at 17. Points are available for pole bonus, fastest lap, or 3 incidents or less. Drivers are currently out on track for a 10-minute qualifying session, and to the surprise of nobody, it is Rodrigo Mies who leads the way right here. Wonder maybe if we can jump on board as he makes his way down the Ullman Straight. And Michael, you can give us kind of a talk through of what a lap around Sebring is like.
So Sebring is one of those tracks that has, as people know from a lot of the British tracks, they're made out of old airfields because that was the easiest thing. A lot of the stuff was there. Now coming through the Sunset Bend right there, turn 17, that has about 17 different ways to go through it. Now you've got to get all the way up to the right side, almost touching the wall, and there's a little kink right there. Just get the nose in and watch for that cone that just passed on the left side, way up high, a little bit too much a curbing there for him. But you go through turn 2, which is really a non-turn. Just get the nose in, get too close right up there onto those curbing for turn 3, 4, 5 coming through here. Now you get a chance to breathe. Put the power down and just bend it around here as we look for the hotel. You got to get your eyes on the hotel and just think, okay, time to relax right now. I'm going to head all the way down to the hairpin, which isn't completely a hairpin. It doesn't come all the way back on itself, but you come through here, just bend it around to the right, get a little bit on that left side, maybe a little bit too much. Oh, as he went, he got a little bit too much of that dirt on the outside there. So what he comes up to next, though, is a very interesting where you go through Cunningham and Collier. It's a quick back and forth, very slow, heavy on the brakes, coming up through the Tower Bend. The Tower Bend is one of those iconic turns where there are about 2 or 3 different ways to get in there. Really only one way to get out of it, though, as you head down to Bishop's Bend. Coming around Bishop's Bend, get into the S's, around through Lamont, down the Ullman Straight to get to that Sunset Bend and finish off your lap.
Well, it is going to be a fascinating circuit to see as these drivers continue to work their way around right now in qualifying. Despite that off for Rodrigo Mies, he still holds a 0.5 of a second advantage. From there on back, though, it is very, very tight with that man, Felipe Loyola, only 0.03 of a second ahead of Diego Morales. Morales has about 0.2 over Cal Quinn and about 0.4 back to Enzo Montesinos. So, I mean, as we've kind of seen through the majority of this season, Michael, it seems like this is going to be a very close battle on track.
Yeah, and remember, a lot of these teams, we've got the Punto CL group. They're several teams there with the blue, the red, the black. They're sharing their setups to a certain extent, and I'm sure each driver makes a few little tweaks to their own, but they're going to be very, very similar. So seeing these guys this close together is really not a surprise for me. I would expect them to be working with each other and giving each other tips and working with their coaching crew and doing everything they can to make the most of the race. As we watch, just a little bit too much on the outside at Le Mans there.
And I believe that was Danny Cervantes there that you saw going off as he comes his way back out of the pits here. Interesting pit exit as it kind of deposits you on the outside of the racing line where a lot of marbles tend to build up. I know for one have gotten it wrong coming out of the pits many a time.
Well, I've gotten it wrong watching people coming out of the pits early on in my career trying to do races here. You were still a victim. I was still a victim. Many people are of target fixation. And you really don't want to do that because you can see that car going past all those cones and then hooking in late. And you might forget to look into turn 1. People who've been racing for 4, 5, 6 years, you stop doing that so much. But it does still happen every once in a while. You got to snap yourself out of it.
Yeah, you've really got to be careful about that. We've talked about it a lot in this series. We've talked about it a lot in other series. As we watch Vicente Morales here working his way around, diving down into Cunningham, that tricky back section of the track that you talked about. Michael, when you look at it from ahead, it keeps very, very close. It looks like it's going to be quick, but it's a very technical section.
There's so much time here to be made up, especially going through Tower. Tower, when I'm doing coaching sessions with people in real life or in the sim, Tower is one of the places we work on the most because it's one of those corners where if you don't get it millimeter perfect, if you don't enter it right, so you're taking the whole section from Cunningham through Collier all the way around Tower to get into into Bishop's Bend. That whole section is really, really important, and it can be up to a second and a half that can be made up there. So if you do it just right, and you really pinch the nose into those places it needs to be without overdoing it, you can do it. It's not like this corner we're watching right now. This corner, the Sunset Bend, I'm not kidding, 17, 18, 20, 1,000 different ways to go through it. There are bumps everywhere, and it looks like we got our checkered flag out here on the session.
We do indeed, as that was Vicente Morales trying to work his way around and improve. Now we jump back to currently 7th place Ignacio Fredes, as he is coming around right now. He's had a couple of green sectors here, and his last lap was his personal best. He takes that wide line down through Sunset, arcing it around there, trying to navigate the bumps of this tricky Sebring circuit. He's going to cross over the line at about 130 miles an hour. Doesn't look like he'll be able to improve. The last driver to come across is going to be Dean Zayats. Zayats was quicker in the 5th and 6th sector, but no improvement there for him. And that is going to lead us to our starting grid here today. Lining up in pole position, it will be Rodrigo Mies, followed by Diego Morales, with Felipe Loyola and Vicente Morales behind them. Horacio Calquin will line up P5, followed by Enzo Montesinos, with Ignacio Fredes and Danny Cervantes in row 4. Israel Barbosa will be 9th, and Dean Zayats rounds out your top 10.
On row number 6 in P11, we've got Byron Daly with Andrew Wood. Row 7, Felipe Riquelme, Jeff Evans, and Peter Newhook, bringing up row 8th in P15.
All right, so a 15-car grid here as we wait to get all the cars onto the grid. Michael, how important is this start going to be? This is a track where you can normally see some good passing done, but I've got to think you want to get yourself that breathing room as much as possible.
Yeah, getting away on that. So turn 1 is incredibly wide. It's one of the old runways. So it's incredibly wide, super wide, but it pinches down into a tiny little taxiway. So you've got 4, 5, 6, 8 cars wide. You suddenly have to get into no more than 2, if you're lucky, 3 cars wide.
All right, so watching out for that pinch up at the front. That will be a big, big talking point, I'm sure, as we have the cars starting to grid up here. Mies on pole position, followed by Diego Morales. Mies, remember, able to capitalize after Loyola had a rough go the last time out. Waiting here for Morales, Calquin, Riquelme, and Jeff Evans, it looks like, to grid up here at this point. As here they come, just waiting now. This is some of the tensest moments for a driver. We all know what is on the line here for them. As we tick in closer, a minute here, just waiting for everything to get going. Waiting.
Yeah, I'm tense just watching this. I am always tense at this point. I know I'm not supposed to be. I don't want to be, but it always happens. So yeah, these guys, I'm telling you, we got our last one on the grid.
Indeed, we actually don't. We're still racing for Horacio Calquin. He's got to hurry himself up there. Otherwise, we are going to grid without him, I would have to think.
Yeah, he's got under 30 seconds, about 20 seconds or so to get onto the grid. Maybe he's going to try to avoid that melee that goes into the turn 2 and do the best he can.
That could be a good strategy for him. 15 seconds now left on the clock for Horacio to grid. There he is. All right, there come the lights and the engines start to harmonize, waiting for it. 3, 4, 5, and there go the lights. We are racing in Sebring. That was a big moment of wheel spin for your leader, Rodrigo Mies. He is immediately swamped by Felipe Loyola and Horacio Calquin. Enzo Montesinos coming around the inside as well. What a dreadful start there for Rodrigo Mies. He is all the way back in 4th position as drivers try to avoid that bottleneck that we talked about through turn 2. They work their way now down into this tricky left-hander. Everybody seeming to get through clear up in the front.
As they work their way into turn 5, trying to get around and work their way down the straight. This is going to be our first really big passing opportunity other than a bad start. I'm thinking Mies might have not had his traction control set exactly right to do that, but coming down into the braking zone for the hairpin. They're all holding on. We got 3 wide in the back.
3 wide in the back, a little bit of calamity. I see Daniel Cervantes, Felipe Riquelme around. I think Ignacio Fredes. It's an absolute catastrophe going down into the hairpin turn.
Yeah, this early in the race, this is not the time to try to be making those kinds of moves. Yes, you want to make it up when you can, but that's just a bad idea to try to do it. You got a cold track, 75 degrees, cold air, 75 degrees, cold tires. Everything's cold, including the drivers. Not a good point to do that. 75 degrees is on the Fahrenheit scale. That's about 24 on the Celsius scale.
And that was Diego Morales that you saw have a little bit of a mistake there. He has fallen off the back of the field, so that has really put a big gap now in between Rodrigo Mies and Byron Daly to the tune of about 3 seconds. There is the 22 of Diego Morales with that mistake. He now finds himself behind Daly in 6th.
Byron Daly really happy to be up 6 positions. It's easier to make passes when other people go off track. I say that every single race we broadcast here. So I'll say it once again. Somebody else goes off track, take advantage of it, move on up. That's 6 positions for him.
It is indeed. As we dive down into Sunset for the first time, here is Peter Newhook trying to hold off Dean Zayats behind him. Newhook going to take a little bit of a tighter line on the entry of Sunset. Zayats looked like he was able to carry some more momentum, but has to check up. Who is that very wide around the outside? That's Felipe Riquelme.
Oh, not a good line to take, but it does make up for you here. You're able to hold on to a little bit of speed, but these guys are closing up. You got defensive lines going on, looking up to the inside, trying to head into turn 1, holding right up against the wall right there, and use every bit of track you possibly can, going through the non-turn turn 2 to get into your first real braking zone for turn 3.
And there they go as he tries to hold off the best that he can. But this has really turned into quite a scrap here in the back with Peter Newhook trying to hold off Zayats as they now work their way down through Gurney Bend and getting ready to go into the hairpin.
Coming down this straightaway, you're looking for your 4 cones right there. That 4 cone is about where you're going to want to start braking, especially with these temperatures. Getting up the inside, trying to make the pass, and just a little bit too much. That inside curbing takes him out, as we also have Andrew Wood trying to avoid that incident and taking a little spin himself.
So Wood and Zayats both having some problems, but I want to jump you up to the back, the front of this field, as Felipe Loyola and Horacio Calquin have broken away here from Mies and Montesinos. The gap is about 1 second between them right now, as very, very close battling here as they work their way up into Jean Debienne, trying to get it in. You see just how later on the brakes that 666 is. Horacio doing a good job to put the pressure here to Felipe Loyola, and now it's time to get into the draft on the long Allman Straight.
Yeah, we've got kind of a 2x2, except in a row. Normally we see that 2 wide by 2 wide, but we've got a clear set of 2 cars and 2 cars with the rest of the pack coming up behind. It's almost like a double lead peloton out here.
Yes, it is. Looks like Calquin is a little bit content to just stick behind. I wasn't watching on board to see if he was lifting through that corner, but it wouldn't surprise me. His fuel saving may come out to play, but look at this. Rodrigo Mies able to clear Enzo Montesinos. He is now ready to get back up into this fight as he sets the fastest lap of the race.
Yeah, it looked like it looked like Calquin was going to have it for a moment there, but nope. Rodrigo Mies decides this is going to be mine. So very tight running through here. I think we're going to watch this turn into a little bit of a 3-way with these guys all trying to fight for the podium.
All trying to really duke it out here to the best of their abilities. Seeing a lot of the way this fight is starting to develop. Looks like Calquin is just keeping Loyola within his clutches here as they dive down into the hairpin on lap 3. Little bit of a wider line there for Loyola, but I think that allowed him to carry some more momentum.
Yeah, good choice there, trying to carry that speed, get away from him. I don't think he really wants to have Mies right up there with them. He wants to try to break away from this. As we look way back in the back there, Montesino's trying to get back into this group. But Mies, he wants to be part of this. He wants to be back up at the front. He was in first place. He's down 2, so he's trying to get his way back up to the front end of this little mini pack we're watching right now.
Yeah, certainly trying to get it. Oh, this is the closest we've seen from Horacio Calquin. He was thinking about a move there coming up into Jean de Bienne. That is not normally a corner that you see a move. I think Horacio is done waiting, and he's ready to get the full attack on here as they work their way through Le Mans.
Make your presence known as you go into Jean de Bienne, and then right here, this is a spot. Stick right up under that wing. Use every bit of aero that you can get rid of to head down here. Now watch as they go in. You're going to see 2 very different lines. My guess is Loyola's going to try to take it a little bit tighter as we go into here, trying to defend that inside. But watch Calquin as he moves towards the outside, trying to gain a little bit of extra speed, a little bit more momentum, trying to get the draft down to that start-finish line.
Trying to get it, but not able to get the full run. I wonder here, Michael, if Calquin may be running just a little bit more downforce than these other drivers, as it doesn't seem like he's able to close on the straight exactly as much as I think he would.
Yeah, he's getting a really good run, especially as we were watching going through Jean de Bienne back there and around Le Mans. He had a beautiful setup through Le Mans, trying to put the power down, and he just couldn't capitalize on it because a little bit too much wing would be my guess as well. I think he's set the car up to be a long runner. He wants it to be solid all the way through the race. He doesn't necessarily want to be on the absolute edge as we watch them on the edge of braking, coming down into the hairpin.
On the edge of that braking, these drivers all keeping it very close to one another, trying to see what they can do. They have completely dropped Enzo Montesinos, who is down 6 seconds in this 3-car breakaway. Absolutely remarkable stuff here for all of these drivers. Ooh, a little bit of a look to the inside there for Horacio Calquin.
Yeah, Calquin not content to be in second. Like we were saying, he is faster through this middle section. He's got just a little bit more downforce, or maybe a little bit better contact patch on his tires as we watch him just taking another peek. He really wants to get around here. He is taking another peek as we come down into Jean de Bienne, trying to just get the nose up in there. He wants to get closer. He wants to make this pass, coming back around to the left, looking to the right, wants to use all the curbing as he comes out the edge here, right on it. Oh, I think he got a little bit of a tail wiggle there. Notice how he lost a little bit of a gap, and who's there to capitalize on that? That's Rodrigo Mies.
And Mies is going to poke his nose down to the inside here. Going into sunset, they're going to be side by side. It's going to be Calquin to the outside, Mies to the inside. Calquin has the momentum, but Mies has the shorter line. There, he's got it covered off. Is there a fight back for Horacio Calquin? He's going to try for it to tuck up behind in the draft, but I don't think he's going to have it unless he's very, very aggressive going down into turn 1. Thinks about poking his nose there, but that move is done. Move Rodrigo Mies back up into P2.
Rodrigo Mies making his way back up to P2. Oh, a little bit too wide for Calquin, trying to do everything he could to make his presence known, to fill up those mirrors as they were going in through there. But Mies is not having any part of it. He's focused forward. He's looking at Loyola saying, okay, now it's my turn to go get this next guy.
Indeed it is. We've seen that speed out of Rodrigo Mies this entire season long. Very surprising to see him have such a scruffy start there as they break down into the hairpin, working on lap 5 right now. It continues to be Loyola leading from Mies, leading from Calquin, and these are your top 2 in the championship as they run 1-2 right now.
Yeah, these guys, they're going to try to hold off a little bit, I think. They realize, hopefully, they're only 5 laps into this race. There are 15 more laps to go. There's no reason to really go at it completely hammer and tongs at this point. But sometimes you just forget, hey, I'm out here to race. I'm out here to have some fun as we watch them scoot through Tower.
Yeah, scooting their way through Tower as they now make the run through Bishop Bend here. Nobody really seeming to get aggressive again. That aggression that we saw of Horacio Calquin going down into Jean de Bienne there, a little bit subdued now that he is a little ways back of his teammate Rodrigo Mies. But Mies able to get a much better run through Jean de Bienne, but loses a little bit of time coming down to Le Mans. Gap now between himself and the leader was about 0.3 of a second, starting to come down now in the draft.
Looks like Mies is trying to drop Cal Quinn, but let's take a look back at what's going on with Cervantes in P9 right now.
All right, this is Jeff Evans who's leading Danny Cervantes. Remember, Danny is down 1 on the day. Jeff Evans up 6. Little bit of a spread out here as they get going. I don't think Danny was able to quite get the run out of Le Mans that he would have liked.
Yeah, but as we come down here into Sunset Bend, watch as he takes it a little bit wide. Now he's going to bring that nose in, get the power on right before the bridge, and really rock it down. He's got to make a little bit more of a gap here because there was some stuff about to happen back there. Time to say, nope, this is my position. Oh!
And this is Daly and Morales side by side. Morales sweeping around Byron Daly there. Remember, Diego Morales out of position a little bit. That was a really great move around the outside of the hairpin there. A little bit surprising, or around Cunningham rather. A little bit surprising to see that move get done like that, but very impressive nonetheless.
Impressive indeed. I don't think I have ever passed on the outside of Cunningham, ever. It's a hard place to get around the outside for sure.
Oh, we've got to jump back to the lead because we've got a little bit of a pass going on here. Mies trying to make the move down to the inside here as they go into Cunningham. Side by side with Felipe Loyola, and that is going to be Mies with the nose ahead. Tries to give a little bit of an elbows out move, but now the track is going to favor back to Felipe Loyola. Under heavy braking, who's it going to be?
Oh, going through Cunningham, trying to make their way back around. Oh, sorry, that wasn't Cunningham. That was Tower working their way down towards the, just into the bend, coming into Gendebien. Oh, this is back in line. It's not over, but Mies is back in front. Loyola will not take this sitting down, except that he's sitting in his race car, of course. But at this point, he's going to get up underneath the wing there, pushing down as hard as he can on that throttle. He's got it going through the firewall, trying to make everything he can. Now let's watch for a defensive move from Mies as we come down into Sunset Bend.
And there's the offensive move from Loyola as he tried to poke his nose to the inside of his teammate. Is he able to carry a little bit more speed out of Sunset as the bumps upset the car here coming around? And there they go. He's not able to get the move done here quite yet, but he might have another fight back going onto the straightaway.
Looks like Mies still trying to be a little bit defensive, not moving over to the right side as fast as he can. Looking for that cone right there at the apex. Boom, back on the throttle. Opens up a little bit of a gap, trying to get away from Loyola.
Trying to get away to the best of his ability, and it looks like it's worked for now, as now it's Cal Quinn who's on the back of Felipe Loyola a little bit. We saw that battle erupting earlier on in the day as they work their way through the Gurney Bend now. Does Cal Quinn have anything to fight back with Loyola? Michael, these three may be teammates, but they are not acting like it right now. They are scrapping for everything.
Well, yeah, but look back there. Montesino's 8 seconds off the leader. They're having fun. I think they're kind of having fun. Oh, but look at that. Cal Quinn trying to put his nose up the inside, actually gets it up in there, puts the power down. Is he going to keep this going? Oh, this is a nice little battle between Cal Quinn and Loyola.
Yes, it is. Cal Quinn holding off the inside there. Loyola forced to back off. That's the second time that we've really seen that run going from the hairpin down into Tower. Absolutely incredible. You normally don't see that.
Yeah, you may see a pass on the entrance to Tower, but trying to do it like they did there, that's really tough. I have a very different line from what most of the amateur racers do when they come up to Tower. So the way I go in and the way these guys are going in, honestly, they're identical. But when you can set up that pass from all the way back there, as we watch these guys trying to work their way down the Omen Straight, trying to get down there, putting the power down. This is, look at that. He's actually closing up a little bit. This draft is actually helping a lot for the number 7 Loyola.
Yes, he is, but not helping enough to be able to get away. And they've got to watch it out because Rodrigo Mies has already pulled out about a 1.3 second advantage over these two. So if they continue to squabble, I've got to think Rodrigo Mies will just fly away into the distance.
Yeah, Rodrigo happy to have these guys battling. Montesinos also happy to have these guys battling. If they're going to go at it, Montesinos could get back up into this particular match and find his way onto the podium tonight.
He very well might. We've got a little bit of that scrapping all the way around. So Cal Quinn certainly trying to do something. Montesinos trying to catch back up, but not looking like he's able to. Whew. It's kind of nice that they've died down here for a second, Michael. Gives us a chance to catch our breath.
Yeah, I kind of want to have a sip of water next to me. I forgot to get my water tonight. So, yeah, watching these guys going at it, wow, this is just good racing. They always put on a good show. Maybe right now, Mies, Cal Quinn, and Loyola are going, you know what? It's intermission. We're 8 laps into here. Let these guys catch their breath. They're probably listening to us. They got a feed of us in their ear. They know that we're covering them and that we needed a little bit of a break.
I think that's a pretty solid example as we watch Byron Daly there trying to close back in on the back of Diego Morales. Remember, Morales was able to get by Daly, but Daly's done a very good job to keep this nice and close.
Yeah, it looks like Daly is 5 positions up at this point, doing a really nice job. We covered a little bit earlier of what he was doing, and he's just sitting there right on the tail of Morales, doing everything he can to just close that gap up little by little. Right now, he's only about 8 tenths off of him, 8 to 9 tenths. Varies a little bit through the lap, but doing a really nice job as we watch him flying through Bishop's Bend here, coming up to Gendebian, get right up on those curbs, both sides. Come on, bring it on around. Eyes around. You got to look right here to get through Le Mans and put the power down, use every last millimeter of curbing you have. And now look at him. Look at him right now. Look at that. He's 0.899 seconds off of him, trying to work his way down towards the Sunset Bend.
Indeed, just trying to take everything that he can out of it. He lost a little bit of time over the course of that last lap. The gap is now at about 8 tenths of a second. When I checked in before, it was about 6 or 7 tenths. But Byron doing a very good job. We've seen just good, clean, steady, consistent driving out of him the entire time.
Yeah, consistent driving is a key. It looks like we had somebody going into the pits back there as we go back to the leaders. Looks like Mies and Cal Quinn and Loyola are still trying to put on a little show here. But Mies, he wants to be the star act. He's going to sit out front for a bit while Cal Quinn sits about 1.3, 1.5 seconds off of him.
And it was Israel Barbosa that came down pit lane. We are hearing it looks like a pretty standard stop for him, but we'll check in on that. Oh, that was a wide run off the corner there for Horacio Cal Quinn. Is this going to be a fight back for Felipe Loyola?
Loyola gotta take advantage of this, looking down the inside. This is the same kind of pass we've been watching. Look at him, just trying to get his nose in there as we go into Cunningham. Does he gonna make it around the outside, or is he gonna, nope, he's gonna try to fight yet another lap. Wasn't quite the right setup, didn't have quite enough speed to get in there to make that one work.
Wasn't quite able to do that move, but a little bit squirrely there of an exit coming off of Cunningham for the 666. That's going to keep Loyola in it and certainly keep him interested.
I'm wondering if Cal Quinn may have used up a little bit too much tire earlier on while he was out there trying to hold on to positions. And now Loyola, well, he's kind of saved a little bit. Look at that. See, getting wiggly off the corner. Loyola staying absolutely steady. Cal Quinn gets that rear end going back and forth, not like you want it to do. You need that to be perfectly lined up. Trying to defend the inside. Fakey on the end, on the back there as we watch Loyola trying to make his way around. Looking for the faster line. Get the nose in. Coming up under the inside. Can't quite do it and tucks back in behind him. Looks like we're going to fight on another lap.
Indeed, that is Cal Quinn already taking a very defensive line as they come across the start-finish stripe. We ride on board with Felipe Loyola trying to go for the old over-under here. He's going to have a little bit of a run, able to get slightly alongside. It's going to be a battle of the breakers going down into turn 3. Later on the brakes is Loyola, but momentum able to carry around the outside for Cal Quinn, and that's going to hold on to the space for now.
Oh, for now, but it now might not be very long because we still got an inside for Loyola here, but Cal Quinn says, nope, it is mine. I'm taking this. You can follow me to the next one. Let's have another braking battle as we get the move towards the outside. Oh, is Loyola going to be able to make it? Pushing him all the way to the absolute limit of the track, going into the hairpin. Trying to go too wide through that sector is not easy.
It is not easy, and these two really putting on a show for us here. They're going to go side by side again as they work their way through the corner. That's going to be Cal Quinn down to the inside. Loyola trying to carry momentum around the outside of Cunningham. The track is going to switch back to favor Felipe Loyola, but it looks like Cal Quinn just has more outright speed.
Yeah, Cal Quinn doing the exact pro line through there, where you kind of take that speed through Cunningham and let it bleed its way through as you're coming through the next corner into the tower. You don't want to loop that back around hard to the left. A lot of amateur racers try to do that. Not the right idea. So we watch them coming into Gendebian here, working their way up. We may see something on the exit of Le Mans as they work their way down that straight.
It looks like there that Loyola lost a little bit of time as they came around. By the way, just to give you a quick rundown of the rest of the field, Cervantes, Newhook, Riquelme, Morales, and Fredes all are out of this race.
Yeah, as we watch these guys working their way around, not quite as close this time. Sometimes you need to take a step back, take a breather, let yourself be known on that lap, let it off for a lap, and then go back at it. Let your tires recover some of that energy. They're getting a little bit overheated, but as we go past our halfway point here in the race, this is not going to get any easier. We're going to start looking at some pit stops, maybe a pass in the pit. So this is really, really going to get interesting.
It is indeed, and remember, the only driver who really has taken that pit stop thus far is Israel Barbosa, so I anticipate drivers probably being able to work it to at least about lap 12, probably a little bit longer, depending on when Israel thought it was a good idea to come in. And we'll keep our cameras focused here as this is the closest battle on track. Again, a little bit of alternate lines there coming out of the hairpin.
Well, there's some defense, some attack-ish, not a real attack, just a filling of the mirrors. Oh, as we watch him go up, trying to head down the inside there, or at least defend on the inside. Sorry, I had that the wrong way around. Both cars are so similar. If you can't see the numbers, it's hard to tell them apart. But Loyola, he's not sitting back. Like I said, he's stuck back a little bit, but now look how close he is. He's right up on the bumper here. Our gap at this point, really only 0.3 of a second. It was a much wider gap earlier on as we watch again, trying to get his lights in those mirrors, taking a look, back and forth, get in his head. They may be teammates, but they are absolutely fighting for a win here, or at least P2 if they can make it work.
Yes, they are. Looked like a pretty good run there for Felipe Loyola coming off of Le Mans. He's still going to be about a couple of tenths of a second back. Thinks about a poke of nose the inside. That's a defensive move from Cal Quinn. They dive hard into the braking zone. Loyola trying to carry lots of momentum around the outside. Is he going to look for an over-under? No, he is just going to try to stick it around the outside to the best of his abilities. And there, that is Cal Quinn coming down pit lane.
Oh, very good call from Cal Quinn. He raced him through that corner. Absolutely kept him going, and last second just pinched the nose right in there. I could see you were right. It was an over-under. That is exactly what Loyola was going for. But Cal Quinn, I think he also saw it coming, realized where he is in the race. It's time to get some fuel and then bring this fight back later. Let him go solo, because I'm sure Cal Quinn's got to be thinking Loyola's getting some speed by being in his draft. So let him go make hay right now while the sun shines.
Well, and Michael, on a track like this that is really broken up into a couple of distinct sectors where you have this sort of twisty infield section as we watch as we watch Cal Quinn coming back down out of pit lane, how much are you dependent on the draft and how much are you hampered by the driver in front of you slowing you up a little bit? And is it better to be running behind somebody, or is it better to be running solo?
Well, so I think this is something we've seen in Formula One before, where the Mercedes team, the AMG team, they were so used to being out front that once they fell back, the cars couldn't work because of the way they set them up. They expected to be out front. And they weren't wrong, obviously. They're very fast cars. They won the championship for the teams. So, yes, they knew what they were doing as far as that went, but they expected to be out front. They were not expecting to be behind someone. If you set your car up with the expectation of being behind someone, be it the person in front of you, like P2, P1, or lap traffic, then you have kind of a different game you have to play. So it depends on what your thought is. Am I going for the lap time, or am I going for the long game of the entire race?
Well, we will have to see what these drivers decided to do setup-wise. I can tell you that it looks like, and indeed, Felipe Loyola will be coming down pit lane. So he has responded to Horatio Calquin. Calquin right now coming on to the Ullman Straight as we speak. It also looks like Enzo Montesinos is coming down. Byron Daly opting to stay out, as does Jeff Evans. No, Evans is down pit lane.
Yeah, looks, if we go back to Calquin, he's just making his way into the braking zone for that final corner, heading through Sunset, getting the power down right before the bridge. As we watch him trying to come out here, is he going to be able to make it ahead of Loyola? Loyola's out. Is he going to make it? What's Loyola doing? He's coming right up, and this is the point where I was talking about before with the target fixation. I don't think you're going to see it in these guys, but as they come around, oh, and he makes it back around him. Loyola not quite able to get that gap closed onto Calquin.
And looking at the pit stop times, about a 6/10 of a second faster in the box for Horatio Calquin, but almost identical times cone to cone there. So a little bit interesting. Loyola still having it all to do as this race continues on. Enzo Montesinos has come out directly behind them. Diego Morales has come out in 8th.
Yeah, I think Calquin may have thought a little bit about that fast pit entry, really crashing the entry, getting on the brakes, and doing it absolutely perfectly. That made up a lot of time for him, and also being stationary less time, but really getting in there and doing everything you can to crash that cone and get through that entire pit sequence. That's an easy way to make up time. It's harder to make it up on the track.
Well, we'll have to see if he is able to make anything up on the track right now, because they are pretty much exactly as they came in. By the way, that's Jeff Evans up ahead of them, only about 3 seconds up the road. And with the pace they've been running, they better be hoping that Evans will be pitting. But your leader, Rodrigo Mies, is now down pit lane. I think, Michael, we are seeing the end of the pit stop cycle.
This should be right at the end. I think we're going to see Byron Daly and Jeff Evans also make their way into the pits. Actually, no, that looked like Evans was going for yet another lap. Maybe he's going to be absolutely sipping on that fuel, taking a little bit less later. Not a bad call as we watch the defensive move here. Oh, no, sorry, attacking move here, going into the final corner. Looking around, trying. Will we see the over-under this time? Is he going to try to get his nose back around up underneath him? Nope. He's going to have to stay outside. And no, we're going to spin! Oh, Calquin goes around. That's got to hurt. But if you're Loyola, that's exactly what you wanted to see. Make him overdrive, then drive off into the sunset.
Oh, my goodness gracious. Go back and check out the replay. Michael, was this the bumps or was this too eager on the throttle?
So I think it's a combination of the two. Those bumps are predictable. You know where they are. But when you've got somebody with that kind of talent that Loyola has right around the outside of you, you kind of forget where you are. You know this bump is coming, and you know you got to get power down because he's got that faster line. You just it's a bump. It's too fast on the throttle. It's both. It really is both.
Well, that battle has certainly died down, but I want to take you back to a battle that hasn't died down, and that is Byron Daly and Diego Morales. Daly was able to jump Morales in the pit stops, and now they are down very close to one another as they exit hairpin.
Yes, we were watching this battle earlier on. It was stuck at about 1 second, 8 to 9 tenths, but the other way around. So passing someone in the pits, that's the easy way to do it. Now we're watching this battle go down where Morales is trying to get back around him. If you're only a half a second faster than somebody, it's really difficult to get around them on this track. You've got to be pretty much 3/4 to a full second faster than somebody to just be able to pass them at will. Now, what's got to go on at this point? Morales has got to start filling those mirrors. He needs to start bouncing back and forth, showing him, hey, I'm faster. I'm going to get here. Get in his brain. Get inside his head and let him know that you're going to take him. As we watch him go into, that was a little bit of a tight entry trying to go into Le Mans there. I think he's going to lose a little bit of speed down the straightaways. We watch him take a big defensive line heading down the straight.
Indeed, and we've got another battle for the podium. This is Enzo Montesinos on Horatio Calquino. Calquino, remember, suffering from that spin last time around, just looked like he was losing gobs of time to Enzo Montesinos on that last lap. I think he may have gotten the yips a little bit here.
And he may have a little bit of damage. I'm trying to look on my side screen to see if he had a little damage on that, but when he went around and he lit up those tires, he definitely got some extra heat in there, and that did not help him at all.
I think there is the merest bit of damage to that rear wing of Horatio Calquin, as a matter of fact, so that may be what he is dealing with here. Yep, there is indeed just a little bit of damage to Horatio, so that will be slowing him down.
Yeah, you can see it kind of on, well, I'm going to say it's the left side, but it might be the right side because I didn't look at it earlier. Just got a little bit of extra downforce that he's probably not wishing he had right now.
Yeah, that's not going to be helping him down the straightaway, but we jump back to that battle between Daly and Morales. Morales all over the back of that black and red machine. Going to try to take it side by side, coming down out of the hairpin. They break heavily down now into it, trying to see if there's anything. Nothing between the two.
Oh, and he comes back around him as they make their way toward, oh, God, this is quite a tight battle. Looking around, just taking that professional line versus the amateur line, going into the tower turn right there. Oh, but we got a big launch from Morales off that corner. Got much better exit as you watch him go through into Jean de Bien here.
Ooh, and really slicing off the nose there going into Jean de Bien. But is this going to be enough for a fight back here for Diego Morales? Morales trying to see if he can get the run, and I think he's got a little bit more overspeed. He's going to try to go for it here down the Allman Straight. Defensive move from Byron Daly trying to push him to the wall, but Morales already down to the inside.
Yeah, taking that inside, looks like we got an opportunity for over-under. Gets his nose back up underneath. Is he going to come back around, getting the power down right at the tower? Sorry, at the bridge. Getting down here. Get that power down, guys. We've got a drag race to turn one.
A drag race down into turn one. Who's it going to be? The line is going to favor Morales, but that's going to be Byron Daly going to try to carry momentum around the outside, but Morales has got it. Looks for the over-under, though. This isn't over yet. Can Morales get it wound up? He cannot. Daly holds on.
Yeah, Diego Morales getting a little bit too deep on the brakes there. Got a little bit wiggly trying to get the nose in. Morales, oh, good try, but Daly takes advantage of that tiniest of mistakes.
An itty-bitty little mistake there for him, trying to get on the power as much as possible. But now Morales looking to fight back a little bit into the hairpin. Thought about taking an aggressive line, but he's going to fall in line.
Yeah, it was a little bit too far back to make that, but this is that point again. Get in his head. He's clearly done it, but he thought he got ahead of him. Made that drag race down to turn one, had the better run, and then outbraked himself. Now as we watch him coming down into the hotel corner, just trying to get through there, putting the power down. Sorry, that wasn't a hotel. That was Cunningham as they work their way down towards the tower.
And is he going to have a move going down into tower? No, it doesn't look like it. Doesn't want to do it there as now they make the run towards Bishop Bend. Morales continuing to just size up his
getting wiggly again.
Here. Yeah, very squirrely.
Yeah, I think he's trying a little bit too hard. If I were Morales at this point, I would take a breath. You've got a few laps left. I mean, we're 16 out of 20 laps right now. You have a chance to make this pass. You don't need to make it right now. You need to make it before the end, but give yourself just a moment. But look at this run. He's got a beautiful run coming off of Le Mans.
He does indeed, and Byron Daly knows it. He goes down to the defensive line to the inside, going to try to cover him off, but I don't think that's going to be enough to cover off the overspeed there from Diego Morales, but Morales has to check himself up a little bit. Daly tries to drift wide to force him out around the corner. That's not going to happen, and he's able to hold on to the position, but he's fighting back as Diego Morales.
Oh, Morales just behind as we go past the start-finish line, getting his nose ahead, coming down into turn one, but he's out of position. Daly's got that inside line, trying to push it out, push him out, and hold just enough space. He could have gone out a little bit farther, but holding that inside line as we go to turn three.
They're still side by side, working their way around, and again, that is now Diego Morales that is able to hold it out. But does Daly have anything to fight back with? Is the real question.
Yeah, Daly is not going to take this lying down. It's time to bring, he knows he can set out in front of this guy. He's like, okay, you got around me there, but you know what? It's not going to last for long. Watch. See, he's getting in his head, trying to fill up that mirror, trying to do everything he can, going up the inside, can't quite make it. We got a drag race down to Cunningham.
Got a drag race down to Cunningham that is hopefully going to be one here for Byron Daly. At least that's what he wants to have happen as he pokes his nose, winging his way this way and that into tower there. Cunningham, excuse me, not able to get it done. They now go through the Collier curve. Daly falls back a little bit.
Falling back just a little bit. He was a little bit slower through this section, and especially coming off the tower here. Watch as Diego Morales is able to put the power down, but this time, Daly is actually hanging with him quite well, going through Bishop's Bend, doing everything he can just to sit there. I think he's trying to set him up right now, going through Agenda BN. He wants to set him up to get down the straight, absolutely right up under that wing and make a pass into the final corner, Sunset Bend.
Ooh, carries a lot of speed there off of the exit of Le Mans as we work our way here. Only 3 laps to go, and Byron Daly does look like he's losing out just a little bit to Diego.
Yeah, he's still close enough to be in there. He seems to be a little bit better under braking as he closes up a huge part of that gap going into Sunset Bend, both taking relatively the same line, putting the power down. Watch for a defensive move here, though. Morales is going to hold a little bit closer to the middle of the track, but watch Daly. He wants to sit up on the outside. He was able to, both of them, get out to the outside, going through turn 1, clipping across that apex, putting the power down, getting right out on the edge of the track. Goes immediately back to defensive to get back into turn 3.
Goes immediately defensive, does Morales, and he's able to hold it out. But does Daly have a better run here coming through Gurney Bend and back onto this little straightaway? It looks like Byron Daly's losing out a little bit, the gap growing out to about 0.5 of a second.
Ooh, this is such a good battle going on, but our old friends Horatio Calquin and Felipe Loyola are having a battle of their own up front that is looking like it's really getting tight. These guys are doing what they can. There's only, that was Montesinos, Enzo Montesinos and Calquin trying to make their own bit of airtime here. Don't want to let those guys, Daly and Morales, take all the airtime. These guys are putting on their own fight as well.
Yeah, they are, and there we jump to it on your screen. That is Cal Quinn on that recovery after that tough break he had. Montesinos trying to put the pressure to him a little bit. This gap has stayed at about 0.6 of a second. I just saw Enzo Montesinos getting very, very squirrely coming off of the tower turn, though. Could be losing his tires a little bit this far on into the race.
Well, he didn't light him up, so going through like his competition here did. So Horatio Calquin, when he went around, had to light those tires up to get back into the fight. But look at him closing up down the straightaway, making a little bit of a peak, getting in his head just again. Now watch, making that wide outside line. Surprising defensive move to be out that wide. You don't want the other guy to get his nose down in there. This gap has closed up to next to nothing. We're under 0.4, right at 0.3 of a second.
Right at 0.3 of a second as they power down the main straightaway here. 2 laps to go at Sebring for the Porsche Cup Series. They continue to work it here. This is Montesinos trying to see if he can get anything on the 666 of Horatio Calquin as they break down into turn 3. Working on the curbs. That's a big chunk of curbing there for Horatio Calquin. Is Montesinos trying to keep up as close behind as he can.
Yeah, that's a little bit more curbing than you want to take in these cars. These cup cars, you can take some, but not quite the ferocity these guys are taking on those particular corners. If you're in an RSR, maybe even a GT3R, but these cup cars, they don't like to hit the curbs when they're that big.
Well, that's probably going to start to slow him down just a little bit, potentially. But as they come around now, you see Montesinos weaving a little bit, just trying to see if he can get into that head of Horatio Calquin like you've been talking about, Michael.
Yeah, doing a really good job. Watch him as he fills the right mirror, comes back around right in there in the rear view, back to the right mirror. Let's show him a little bit as we come down the straightaway. I'm just going to fill that left mirror and move back over, just get right behind him. He wants to get in his head. He wants to make this pass. Montesinos knows what he's doing here. He's got actually the upper hand. He might be the car behind, but look as he closes up going into Genda Bien.
Big close up into Jean de Bien is here. They come around, a little bit of a poke of the nose, trying to carry some momentum through the corner. There is the 24. He looks like he may have a good run going down the long almond straightaway. Your leader, Rodrigo Mies, crosses the start finish line to take the white flag out here. A little bit of a poke to the inside, a little bit of a defensive move. There comes the attack for Enzo Montesinos. What a crossover!
Oh, crossover going for a big over-under as they make their way through the last bit of this corner. Again, we're looking at a drag race. Who'd have thought a drag race on Sebring? This is amazing racing from these two.
Oh, and there he comes again. Enzo Montesinos trying to take a very, very wide line. You saw in the background there, that was Morales and Daly. That battle has pretty much died out, so we're going to keep our cameras here. The 24 trying to find an advantage, flicking this way and that, trying to go down to the outside of turn 3. That's not going to work. Does he have the power to get it down going here through Gurney Bend?
Montesinos is hungry. He wants everything he can take here. He sees that final spot on the podium just coming to him. He knows he can get into the head of Cal Quinn. Cal Quinn is going, nope, I am too good for this. You're not going to let that happen to me. Taking off down the straightaway, but watch him under braking here as he closes up this gap to the merest of margins, just right at 3/10, trying to get back in there. But right now, backing off just a little bit. Need to save this for that back half going through Bishop's Bend.
Yeah, that's where he's really going to need that power as much as possible as he continues to just stalk behind his teammate, the 666 of Horatio Calquin. Big chunk of the curbing there as they make their way up and through Collier Curve. Now looking to the inside, coming through there. We jump up to your leader, Rodrigo Mies, as he is coming through Le Mans for the final time, working down onto the Ullman Straight.
Yeah, heading down the straight here. Got a 12-second gap. That is a huge gap. He fell back on the start. Didn't look good for him, but he worked his way back through. An absolute masterclass on how to work your way around here.
Diving down into Sunset for the final time. He will take the car out of the corner and bring it onto the start-finish straightaway to take victory. Does Rodrigo Mies? Oh my goodness, I think Enzo Montesinos is out of fuel. I think Montesinos is out of fuel. He is stalling and sputtering.
Oh, Montesinos trying everything he could. Put a really good battle in there. He is out of fuel right now. Look, this is not the speed you want to be going. He's only cruising along at about 100 kilometers an hour. Can he make it to the finish? Just pull in those clutches, man, to hit it down, hit it down. Oh no, is he going to get past? He's going to get past at the finish.
Oh, Enzo Montesinos running out of fuel on the final lap, short fueling the car and losing out to Diego Morales at the line. My goodness gracious, Michael.
Wow. So for me right now, I don't know where it all lies, but Morales, Montesinos, Daly, and Calquin were that's a tie across the top for the most exciting race of the week for me.
For sure, as we watch here, the last couple of drivers coming out of the corner to take the checkered flag, and that is going to take us to a quick break here on the Global Sim Racing channel, but do not go anywhere. We will be back with unofficial race results as well as podium interviews. Welcome back to the Global Sim Racing channel. You just saw a cracking race where Rodrigo Mies was able to come back from a very, very rough start to take victory here over Felipe Loyola and Horatio Cal Quinn, who finished second and third. Cal Quinn able to beat off Enzo Montesinos, who ran out of fuel coming to the line. Diego Morales able to pip him. Byron Daly came home sixth, followed by Jeff Evans with Dean Zayats and Andrew Wood. When Israel Barbosa rounding out your top 10.
11th looked like we had Felipe Riquelme coming in alongside Danny Cervantes, Peter Newhook, Vicente Morales, and Ignacio Fredes. I think were DNFs in this one.
They were indeed. And Michael, looks like we're not going to have anybody to talk to, but just some of your closing thoughts here on what was an incredible race.
Well, we're used to incredible racing from this group. We've watched this series as they've gone through several races in this particular season, and we always see very close racing. And these guys are trying to work to the last thimbleful how much fuel they needed. And I got to tell you, I was completely heartbroken for Enzo at the end as he's coasting across the line and Morales is able to pass him. But I felt great for Morales as he came across the line after a brilliant battle with Byron Daly and able to get around him and just clip that P4 right there at the end. So, you know, it's an up and down kind of series. These guys put on a fantastic show every single week. I love calling this race.
As do I. But, folks, that is about going to wrap things up for us here on the Global Sim Racing channel. But before we go, we want to thank our sponsors. First off, the Majors Garage, home of free Baseline Plus setups. Use our offer code MajorsGSRC for 10% off, or check out the link in our descriptor below. We also have ASR. They build and design the sturdiest and most durable aluminum profile simulation cockpits available on the market today. Visit them at advancedsimracing.com. RaceLab. It helps you to improve your driving skills. Start using it now for free at racelab.app. ButtKicker. Feel what you've been missing at thebutkicker.com. And NinjaTrader. Visit ninjatrader.com to get started with a risk-free trading simulator and start tracking your performance. Thanks also to the companies that provide the software and hardware for our broadcast listed here on your screen. An additional thanks go to June Lalonde, who provides our wonderful music. Check out her Bandcamp for more of her awesome work. Thanks to the team today, Michael, Chad, and Dougie. You can find out more about GSRC by checking us out at globalsimracingchannel.com or through our social media listed below. Also, please check out our merchandise store at gsrc.storenvy.com. We keep a link in the description below. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss a moment here on the Global Sim Racing channel. Well, next up, it's going to be the Grand Prix Legends series as they head to Monza with no chicanes. That'll be 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time, Saturday, February 5th. And the next race for this series for the F3s and the Porsche Cup guys, that will be the Nürburgring Grand Prix World Endurance Championship layout and Barber. That'll be next Thursday, February 10th at 8:25 Eastern. We also have upcoming races for other series listed on your screen, so check them out on your calendars and mark them down. But until next time, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.